I was a graduate of Michigan State University. And then I worked for digital for 13, 14 years. And then I founded a company called Ultranet Communications, which ended up being the largest internet provider in New England. I sold that to RCN, where I went to work for them briefly, decided I didn't like the big corporate thing. Bought a 40-foot Freedom sailboat, went sailing and put over 40,000 miles onto it. And in less than 2 weeks, I'm going to be in Panama getting ready to move my boat up to Guatemala. But now I spend 50 or 60 hours a week working on a Fresh Start Furniture Bank. Let's see. Who are we? Well, we're a 100% nonprofit, 100% volunteer-based nonprofit. We had been based, who provides free furniture and home goods to people in need. We're currently based in Hudson on Tower Street, and we had been based in Marlboro on Mechanic and Lincoln was where we used to be, and some donated space. This is a Branch Ewells from Touchstone Apartments that donated this space. And our mission statement is that we help restore hope, dignity, and stability in our community by recycling donated furniture and housewares to people in need. And who do we help? Well, basically, there's the term people in need is so broad, but I mean, lately there's been people in fires and floods. Like we just had the fire in Marlboro, right on Main Street that burned out the whole bunch of people. It's been amazing. We'll have these cycles where all of a sudden we got all these people coming in from fires, and I don't know where all these fires occur, but you know, it's real. We also have a lot of women and children coming out of domestic abuse situations who are in shelters. We have people who are coming out of halfway houses, and we do a lot of work with veterans organizations. Veterans organizations have actually been a really tough nut for us to crack because they tend not to let you into their circles until they get to know you. And then once they get to know you, all of a sudden they welcome you with open arms. But there are a tremendous number of veteran service organizations in Massachusetts, but there's probably only a dozen or so that provide referrals for their veterans to us. The Marlboro, there's a veteran service organization that just moved into the Walker building, and they're actually great because they send movers out to pick up furniture and the whole bit and get the veterans all set up. So they are wonderful groups to deal with. There are also refugees and recent immigrants to the United States. And we have ended up with a lot of people who are coming out of things like drug and alcohol rehabilitation. So we're helping those kind of folks. 100% of our clients are in the low to moderate income bracket. So these are people who really don't have a lot. I'm always amazed at the number of people who come in who have absolutely nothing. I remember in November, we had this one family come in and they had 2 5-day-olds. And just before this, they had been completely homeless. And I'm sitting here looking at these folks, where would you be going without us? I mean, what would you have? You know, there was another woman in Marlboro not too long ago where people were complaining about loud music coming out of her apartment. And when they went over there, they found that all that she had in there was 2 plastic like patio chairs and a plastic table, and she was playing religious music. And that's all that she had. Well, we got her completely set up with a couch, a dresser, beds, and things like that. Since then, she has gone off, and she has a job now, she has friends, and her whole life has completely changed around. And you know, it's truly amazing just to look at how many people don't have anything, and unfortunately there's a lot of people out there who don't know how to get out of their own way. And luckily there are other organizations who are helping them get themselves established, because we believe that if you don't have a home that you put down some roots, you're just going to keep repeating this cycle of poverty. And then once you actually get people who are into a home, that they will actually become part of society and become productive. Now, the way that, let's think, I'll kind of go over our history. I just generated this talk today, so it's not like I'm used to giving this thing to anybody. So I'll give you a little bit of our history. Some of you may know that there's an organization called Employment Options in Marlboro. And their primary goal is to train people who have a lot of issues with job skills. So they opened a thing called Furnishing Options back in 2009 using donated space. And they used that space to train their employment options people on basic job skills. Distributing furniture was really like a secondary goal for them. And then they closed that in 2012 when they lost funding. Branch Yules and some of the volunteers decided that they needed to reopen this. So they reopened it using the furniture which had been left over in the same donated space, in the same space that he had donated. And one of the problems was that it really kind of lacked a set of direction and policies and procedures. And my other half, Sue Wadby, came in as the director, and she really tried to establish the policies and procedures, because one of the problems was that Furnishing Options kept refurnishing the same people's apartments. These people would decide they didn't like their furniture, or they'd sell it to somebody else and they'd come back. And that's not what we want. Or they just abandon their furniture when they move out of one apartment and move into another one. And we said, no. You get one option. I'm still living on the same couch that I've had for 15 years. You don't get a new one just because you moved apartments. And Sue asked me to come in and implement some of the IT, because that's my background. And then I kind of started taking over more and more of the background management of the operation, and eventually kind of became the president. Then I incorporated Touchstone Furniture Depot in 2014, and I got our 501c3 nonprofit status, which then allowed us to start actually going off and raising funds. Then in September of 2014, we began fundraising for a box truck. I raised $16,000 toward it. By January, we bought a box truck. And then in June of 2015, we renamed ourselves to Fresh Start Furniture Bank, because quite honestly, Touchstone Furniture Depot kind of sounded like a discount furniture warehouse. And that's, really didn't describe what our mission was. And we kind of thought that Fresh Start imparted the idea that you were giving people a fresh start, and that we're a furniture bank, that this is what we are. So it just seemed like a much better name, and the name has been received extremely well. And then because we got that box truck, we were getting so much furniture and we were growing so much, we basically just ran out of space in our 1,200 square foot place in Marlboro, and we moved to Hudson. Now, this is what our old space used to look like. I don't know if you can see this, where we've got couches stacked 2 and 3 deep on end, because there was no other way to store these things in there. Chairs just stacked up here, dressers stacked 3, 4 deep. I have no idea how our clients were able to come in here and select furniture, because no one could ever sit on the couches. You had to kind of look around like this and go, I think I want that dresser right there. But still, we were just moving a tremendous amount of furniture through there. And this is what we used for furniture pickups before we got a box truck. So, these were pickup trucks where we had things strapped on here, and we looked like the Beverly Hillbillies more times than I can. It was amazing, all the stuff that we were able to haul using pickup trucks. And then we went off and bought this, 16-foot box truck, which did just amazing job as far as increasing the amount of furniture that we were able to collect on any given Saturday, because we only do pickups on Saturdays for 3 hours. So we do 4 pickups, and if you have to be doing this hub and spoke thing coming back and forth each time, that really limits the amount of furniture you can pick up. Now we can go off, and generally we can fill that truck up completely on one pass, or if we have to, we can come back and then go out again. And this is what our new space looks like. So you can see this is a little bit different than what we had before. So we've got couches and love seats and upholstered chairs, and people can actually sit on all this stuff. They can see the furniture they're selecting, etc. it's just a tremendous change for us. This is our section where we have home goods, linens, draperies, you name it, et cetera in there. And this is a set of shelving that we just built, or countertops we just built 2 weekends ago. This is where our teams sort all the incoming goods. So now they've actually got these nice big countertops to sort things, so it's changing tremendously. Now, how does this thing work? Well, right now the way that it works is that there are agencies throughout the Massachusetts who register online with us in order to provide referrals for their clients. No one can come directly to us. Everyone has to go through an agency. So the agencies can register online with us, and then they can create accounts for all the different people who work for them. And then all the staff can submit their referrals via an online form to us. And our computer systems talk with our web server, pulling down these referrals and things like that. And when a client is all done with a referral, the agency gets a report letting them see what the client has taken, or if they didn't show up or whatever. And the agencies really like that because they get this feedback as to what's going on. The agencies are responsible for vetting the clients. We don't do that. We believe that it's not our job to figure out who is worthy and who's not worthy, who has the right credentials or the right income levels or whatever. So the agencies are responsible for vetting all the clients. And as of today, there are 150 agencies in 56 cities who are providing referrals to us. The largest city is Framingham with 29, then Marlborough with 20, and Worcester with 14. We expect to have 180 agencies signed up with us by the end of the year. And this is a growth curve that shows how many agencies are signing up. And this wiggly line right there is the actual number of as we go along with time. And this is a line drawn through there. So you can see that we're just on this steady growth as far as how many agencies. And we're estimating that by the end of this year, we'll have 180 agencies signed up with us, which is a really scary number, personally, because, and if you look at where the agencies are located, the individual agencies are here in red, smaller clusters of them are in blue, the yellows are bigger clusters. So Framingham area has 34 agencies who provide their referrals. Marlborough area has 27, et cetera. So you can just see there are a tremendous number of agencies spread out throughout the state. All the way out here in Northampton, Greenfield, Dartmouth. We're getting a lot of people coming out of Dartmouth right now because there's a furniture bank down there, but it's a 6-month waiting list to get in there. So people are actually driving all the way from Dartmouth and Fall River area to Marlborough. So there's a huge need for this. It's just amazing. And we're not the only furniture bank. There's HGRM, which is in Acton, and there's New Life HR, which is in Walpole area. Now, clients. Clients may only receive a single referral over their lifetime unless something happens, like they have a fire or they get a bug infestation, bed bug infestation or something like that. Otherwise, we believe that we give them one shot, and there's plenty of other people out there who are needy, and we don't want them coming back over and over and over again like that was happening with Furnishing Options. So they get their referral, and then they have 30 days to come in and select their items. And we allow them a maximum of 3 visits to get their items. And we limit the number of items that they can take based upon the size of their family. And when someone comes in, generally the first time they come in, they're able to pick everything that they need. And the only time that we allow them to come back and pick more stuff is if, let's say, we only have long bureaus and they need a tall dresser. So in that case, we'll let them come back in and pick a dresser if we've got one that that matches the size, because a lot of these people are going into apartments which are really tiny, or let's say they need a kitchen table which is really small, and all we've got are dining room tables. So we'll let them come back and pick a small an item that'll fit their apartment. And they also have to provide all their own transportation. People always sit there and say, well, why don't you provide transportation? Well, it's kind of simple because we believe that people have to have some stake in this game. And if you give them everything, they really don't respect what they're getting. So therefore, we believe that they have to figure out part of this is like how to get that furniture back to them. Let's see, do I sit there and say this? Another thing that we do, which is unlike any other furniture bank, is we actually allow them to place items on hold so that they can go in there and say, I want that couch, I want this, I want that, and then they can go back and they can figure out how to get the transportation. Because asking a lot of these people to come and with a truck to pick all this stuff up when they have no idea what they're going to be able to get is a big stretch for them. This way, you give them the chance to figure this out. And some people will come out, pick things out, but then they won't ever come back because I just don't think they can figure out how to arrange that transportation. They don't have the money. They think they're going to be able to get a friend to lend them a truck or something like that, and it just doesn't happen. Most of the people do come and pick up their stuff. Now, where are our clients located? 43% of the clients come from Marlboro, 19% from Framingham, then 6% Hudson, 5% Worcester. But what's interesting is that more and more of these organizations are coming online and figuring out how we work. The demographics are shifting, so it's kind of flowing outward because they actually really like working with us. They like getting the reports. They like submitting the online referrals. They like that we allow clients to hold their stuff. Now, if you actually look at where all the different clients come from, this is a map which kind of has one pin per person, but really in these sections they're all so clustered up it's really hard to tell. But it's kind of interesting how you can see how you got this big cluster down here in Fall River. You've got the Worcester area, the Framingham, Marlboro, then a whole bunch but you've got a whole bunch of them sitting out here in Springfield also. So people are traveling long distances to take advantage of our services. This is another way of looking at the same thing. This is what's called a heat map. So you can see where the red is, that's where the high concentrations are of clients. Now, one of the other critical aspects of the organization is handling donations because everything that we give out is donated. So the donors can contact us via phone or our website. And we've got a call center who you call in, you leave a message, it transcribes the message, generates an online ticket, and then our call center staff can go in there, listen to the message, read the transcription, call the person back, figure out what types of furniture they have, make sure that the quality of the items that we're getting in are sufficient because people only get one time to come in. So we want to make sure that the items that we give them are very high quality. Because the last thing you want to, I know there are some people who go like, well, they're poor, they'll take anything. That's not the way you uplift somebody, by sitting there and say, you'll take this piece of crap. No, you want people to get a couch which is going to last them, and they're not going to have to throw out. They're not going to have a chair which is all ripped and torn and stained. That's not an uplifting thing. So what we try to do is we try to make sure that the quality of all the items that that we have in the store is high. And some people also look at us as one step before the dump. And we don't want to have that kind of stuff come in because if we get it in and it is poor quality, it's going to sit there forever, and then we'll just fill up our space with junk. So we have to carefully vet this stuff so that on the phone, and we can ask the questions, and hopefully they'll be honest with us. Quite often they aren't. And then when the pickup team goes off and looks at the stuff, they can sit there and say no also. And I know, like just 2 weeks ago, I picked up a love seat that I didn't look at close enough. I brought it in, and my other half sits and goes, why did you bring this in? I look at it, and sure enough, it's torn on the zippers, on the cushions and things like that, so that ended up going to the dump. We also had another person bring in a upholstered chair this past weekend into the store and just to donate it. And they said, oh, there's a slip cover on here. The underlying chair is just fine. It was just sun faded. And so when we started vacuuming it, we pulled up the slip cover. This thing is just torn and falling apart, you know. It was just absolutely awful. And it's like, why did you do this? Why did you bring this kind of stuff to us? But they do. So it was one of the difficult things that we have to deal with, because it's expensive for us to get rid of sofas and love seats and things like that don't meet our quality standards. So then we've got transportation groups who go off and pick up the furniture. And there's a coordinator who's responsible for scheduling all the teams and then determining the pickup routes. And then we send out 2 to 3 man pickup teams on Saturdays from 9 to 12. And we'll do 4 pickups on a given day. And we can actually fill up the truck pretty well, as long as we've done a good job of figuring out who we're going to do our pickups from. And our distribution center, aka our store, that's open 2 days a week, and we're only open 5 hours a week, so it's pretty short. But we'll move 10 to 12 families through there in 5 hours that we're open. So we're open Tuesdays from 10 to 12 and Saturdays from 9 to 12. And basically we break the store down into client teams. These are teams who work with the clients, who take them through the store, show the items, mark down what they're going to be taking, let them know the criteria is what they're allowed to take. Then we also have people who handle the donations that are coming in from people who are dropping things off and generating receipts, and all this stuff is done electronically on tablets. And then we have teams who sort all the items which are coming in, clean them, and grade the donations. So there are lots of moving pieces here. If you want to look at our growth trends, I was showing you that curve before. You know, in 2014 we had 278 referrals come in. In 2015 that grew to 402. In 2016 that's going to be 568. Now only about 68% of the people actually end up showing up. So that's why this year I'm estimating that we'll actually furnish 360 families with furniture. But if you look at how many items we've distributed, 2014, 2,035, last year 4,015, 2016, we'll call it 6,700 items, pieces of furniture we're going to distribute. That's a lot of furniture. And that's a 42% growth rate in 2016. Now, what does it cost us to do all this stuff? Now, this is our budget. We're very transparent about it. Okay, our rent is basically 5,000 square feet at a little bit less than 5,000 square feet. So that's $24,000. Internet, phone, $600, insurance, etc. So the bottom line is our budget is $35,000 a year. There's absolutely no fat in there. And how do we pay for that? Well, our donations, when we ask for a donation when we pick up furniture, that's $7,400. Sometimes we get things like antiques, very high-end furniture, we will consign that. That makes up a very small percentage of it. That's another $2,700. Then we fundraising, and big thing for me is grant writing. I spend all my time grant writing now. This is what I just do, I swear. So basically we'll be able to make it up, but it's a big push. Now, one of the things I really want to point out is that with a $35,000 budget and 361 families, that means we can furnish an entire household for $97. That to me is an amazing number. Now, what is our most valuable asset? It's our volunteers. Currently, we have 74 volunteers who make this thing work, and these are active volunteers who are in on a regular basis. Last year, they donated over 5,000 hours of time. And that doesn't include all kinds of special groups who come in, like Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts and EMC and things like that. So we don't do a good job of keeping track of those kind of hours. But I want to show you some of our crews. This is our Tuesday crew. Tuesday crew is a real standard crew. It's the same group of people who come in here like every Tuesday. They tend to be retired folks or who aren't working, and they come in. And this is our standard crew. They really know what they're doing. And this is the Saturday crew. Now, one of the things you really notice about this is how young the crew is. We've got a whole bunch of high school kids in here. She's a nanny, she's a school teacher, that's my other half, the director. But one of the things is that these kids are in there every Saturday. They're in there on Tuesdays when they're out of school. They're in there all the time. They just love working for us. And one of the things that we did last year was we recommended them for the Mayor's Team Service Award. And all 4 of them ended up getting awards from Marlboro's mayor for the service they put in, because these kids are absolutely great. Girl Scouts. In the last 2 or 3 weeks, we've had 2 different troops come in who have been running furniture and linen drives. I think that one's from Sherborne, and I think this is a Marlboro Girl Scout. So they run linen drives for us, household goods drives and things like that. So we have all kinds of, that's a regular thing that occurs here. In this case, this was an Eagle Scout. He's back here, Owen. That's his father back there. And Owen's in on a regular basis. Well, he needed to do this Eagle Scout project where they were going to plan something, build it, or whatever. Well, he designed and constructed this shelving units back here, which now hold our artwork. And so in this case, he and his dad and I went off, bought the lumber, using the box truck, brought it back to my house, sawed it, because I've got a big workshop. They did all the construction. Then on this Saturday, matter of fact, right after one of the Girl Scouts troops had been in there, he brought in friends and other scouts, and they painted these, and the following Sunday, they mounted them up on the wall, and when I came in on Monday, that's what I saw, and it was like, wow, you guys did a great job. This is a group from EMC who came in, along with an organization called Boston Cares, and they constructed and painted all these toddler beds. So there were 30 toddler beds that they finished constructing that day. And so one of the things that I'm always looking for is telling people, how can you help? Well, one of the things we need on a constant basis are more volunteers. We're growing very rapidly, and it's a very dynamic organization. So we need store assistants, we need sorters, we need people to help move furniture. We need translators. We know somebody who can do web design. I mean, I'm the IT guy, but I don't have enough time to sit there and put all kinds of, keep it up to date with all the press releases and all that kind of stuff. So I'm looking for someone to do that kind of stuff. Fundraising. I can write grants and things like that, but as far as coming up with ideas, as far as other fundraising events, that's not my forte. I'm looking for help with that. Or PR, and we need board members too. I want more people who have roots into the community, who know how to go off and bring more involvement in the community. And one of the other things I always need is, I'm a grant writer, we need money. It's one of these things, because I would much rather spend a lot more of my time building the organization, moving it forward, than sitting there writing grants. So we're always looking for money, but then again, who isn't, right? What do we also need? Right now, we need furniture donations. We're probably 2/3 of capacity right now, and winter is always a slower time for us. But right now, we're in need of end tables, nightstands, kitchen tables, and chairs, headboards, and metal frames, and lamps. If you got shades, that'd be absolutely wonderful. And then this is a list of home goods that we're lower on right now. Pots and pans. Right now, dinner plates are very, very low. We can have 10 families come in, and boy, you'd be amazed at how fast you can strip out all the home goods. So we need silverware, artwork, comforters and blankets, and curtains. And one of the things that I also would like some help with, maybe you guys can easily help with, is that we need to get the word out about who we are. And the Action Unlimited historically has been very good about running ads for us, but for some reason or other, they haven't been running lately. And our call volume, if you can just see this right here, has dropped way off. It's dropped off probably about 40% what it was in November. Well, our clients aren't dropping off. So it's one of the things I'm just worried about. We're keeping up, but just barely. So one of the things that I have are sets of these posters right here for Fresh Start. And this one triple one right here. So if you have, your gyms, your stores, you go to the grocery stores, laundromats, whatever, if you could take some of these and just put them up there, ask, that would be really good, because that way people will know about us, because there's a lot of people who don't read the Action Unlimited, but they'll sit in a laundromat and it's like, oh, look at that. I never knew that there was a Fresh Start Furniture Bank. So this would be a real simple thing. I've only got 10 copies of each, but if anyone wanted more, I can send you a link to the PDF files and you can just print them off. They're right online. Anyhow, question and answer time. This is my contact information. This is the information about Fresh Start Furniture Bank. So, any questions?
I was wondering, do you do any minor repairs to furniture, like if it's a nice piece, but there's just one?
Yes,
cracked,
we will do minor repairs. Our goal is to do as little repair as possible. We have this guy by the name of Forrest who loves to repair chairs and furniture, and we just put a really nice industrial workbench in there that somebody donated to us. So he's got this whole area in there. But yeah, so we can do some repairs. Nothing major. We just had someone donate a couch to us that once we got it in there, we saw the back was kind of bowing out, and when we took up the fabric, it was cracked in half, and the side of it was cracked down. Also, it's like, why did you donate this to us? You knew that this thing was, had these problems. So that had to go to the dump. Yep. Because we don't have enough manpower to be open more. Because you figured out that it's, as it is, we've got 72 volunteers, and we can barely keep up with the demand we have right now. And if we're open more, that would require us to having more transport that we just don't have. And most of the people that we have volunteering for us have day jobs. So that requires, it's a limited group who can be in there on weekdays. We don't have any paid staff. So if we had paid staff, that would probably change things. But we don't have any paid staff. So we would love to be open more, but we just can't.
What's the minimum amount of people that you need on site to be able for the place to function properly?
Probably 6. Because you have to deal with donors coming in. You have one person who has to be at the front desk. You have to have people who are handling the clients coming through. So probably 6 is the smallest number that you could have. Now, as I was mentioning before, the Marlboro Lions used to send in a whole team for us on the 4th Saturday, and then we moved out of Marlboro, and they decided that since we weren't a Marlboro-based charity anymore, that they weren't going to support us. The sad thing is that I think you saw what percentage of the clients are coming from Marlboro. So really, yes, I know we're not physically located in Marlboro, and the only reason we aren't in Marlboro is because we couldn't afford the rents in Marlboro. And we got a really good deal on the space here in Hudson, and
Mechanical Street was probably great, but the problem with that was there was no place to park.
There was no parking.
The folks were used to come pick up furniture.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was dangerous. The people coming around the corner and the whole bit. People didn't want to drop off stuff there. Well, when we moved to Hudson, we were amazed at the increase in donors coming in, because it was so much easier to drop things off, and much easier for the clients to pick things up. So all in all, it's just been a wonderful move for us. I can't say enough about the Aspen Valley Chamber of Commerce. We just joined that. They've been extremely welcoming. Everything here has been a very positive move for us, a very positive experience. Any other questions? No? Well, in that case, I'll let you guys get headed home.
Well, thank you. You
50th anniversary pin
Okay.
last year, I think. And obviously, you know, whatever we can do to help.
Well, there are lots of ways that you can help. So, you know, please, you know, remember us. You know, I think if any of you were to ever come in there and volunteer, you'd find it's an extremely welcoming, active, fun organization. So that would be great. We're always looking for volunteers. We're always looking for money.
And you don't need to commit to a single day of a month?
Nope. As a matter of fact,
One day a month or
you
something
can
like
come
that?
in once a month. I mean, literally, it can be as little as 2 or 3 hours a month that you can come in there and volunteer. You know, I must admit that a lot of people will come in and say, well, I'm only going to come in for, you know, 1 week in a month, and all of a sudden they're in there on a regular basis just because they enjoy it so much. And you can really see what you're doing and the impact you're making, because you're meeting the people who are coming in, you're learning their stories, you're seeing that you're changing their lives. And that means a lot. It really means a lot when you see the smiles and get the gratitude and the thank yous, because you know that you've just changed somebody's lives. And this year, it's going to be 360 families, 1,000 people. I always sit there and think about 1,000 people. Now, how big is Stow? You know, I don't know how big Stow. 6,000. So, you know, 1/6 of Stow we are going to be helping this year. That's a big number. And you know, I sometimes I sit there and think about, why do I spend so many hours? And then you sit there and think, 1,000 people. You're making a big difference in life, in a lot of people's lives. So, anyhow, thank you so very much for letting me speak to you.